Hello guys and girls, my name is Levitee. Welcome back to the second installment of our top blank Pokemon to draft in League format. We are here for the top 10 tier 1 offensive Pokemon to draft in League format. If you guys remember, a couple weeks ago I did the top 10 Mega Evolutions to draft in League format. So if you want to go ahead and check out that video, it'll be down in the description below. We're here to do the offensive tier 1 Pokemon. And the reason why I say offensive is because this one will be split into two different parts, being offensive and defensive, because Tier 1 is a lot more diverse, and there's a lot more things going on there, if that makes any sense, compared to the Mega Tier. And for this list, we will be excluding Pokemon that are banned in most leagues, like we did in the Mega. So the Pokemon that we will be excluding from this list are Tapu Lele, Magearna, and Hoopa Unbound. So they will not be on this list. But yeah, this video will be 100% completely opinion-based. So if you don't like my opinion, then by all means, scream me in the comments and dislike the video. Do what you must, but don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy videos like this and more to come for the future. Yeah, let's dive right into the video. So starting off the list, we have Excadrill at the number 10 spot. So looking at this guy's stats, he's got some pretty good stats, including his attack and speed with 110 HP, 135 in attack, 60 defense, 50 in special attack, 65 in special defense, and 88 in speed. But the main reason why Excadrill is on here is because of Sand Rush. And what Sand Rush does, if you do not know, is it boosts his speed by, I'm not sure how much it is, but if you pair Excadrill with a Pokemon that can set the sand, for example, Hippowdon, Tyranitar, Gigalith, that's the best way you can get the most out of your Excadrill, by using a sand setter with it. And at the same time, you get that speed increase, from which you could run like a Choice Band and hit really hard. Or, as you can see on the layout, it gets things like Swords Dance, so maybe you want to run Life Orb Swords Dance and just hit so many things hard. You hit Fairy types really hard with Iron Head. This Pokemon just overall hits extremely hard. The reason why it's all the way at number 10 though is because without the Sand Rush, it's just a mediocre Pokemon. If it didn't have Sand Rush, I probably wouldn't have put it on this list at all. There's a couple other Pokemon that could have been here, but I felt Excadrill with the Sand Rush definitely deserve the spot. And it's not like it's only good with Sand Rush. You also get the Mold Breaker ability, which ignores the ability of your opponent. So if they want to try and send in a Levitee Pokemon on you, you can just hit them with a Mold Breaker Earthquake. So if it's an electric type. And you can ignore Unaware. So if you want to try and set up on a Clefable, let's say, Unaware will not be affected by you because of the Mold Breaker, and you can just set up and hit that thing with a solid Iron Heads. But Excadrill, one of the very strong Pokemon, usually gets drafted in most leagues. Like I said, if you're going to draft this thing, it's highly recommended that you pick up a Sand Setter with it. Like I said earlier, Tyranitar, Hippowdon, and Gigalith. Now, at the number 9 spot, we have Ash Greninja. Now, don't get me wrong. This Pokemon is insanely good, but one of the main problems to this Pokemon and what holds its potential back is Battle Bond. And you may think that's a good thing, but it could also be a very bad thing for Ash Greninja because you need to get a kill with this thing first, and oftentimes most players will not let you get a kill with this Ash Greninja, and it's a lot harder to use Ash Greninja in League format than if you were just playing on the ladder or OU, because Ash Greninja, it's kind of easy to prep for, I would say. I mean, it hits extremely hard once the Battle Bond is off, which is why you cannot put this thing on the list, because once Battle Bond activates, this thing hits like a truck, especially with priority. This thing is kind of hard to revenge kill. For example, if you want to try and run a Scarflander's Theory to try and revenge kill this thing, you're just going to get hit with a Water Shuriken. But Ash Greninja can also suffer from predictability, I guess, because it really only has one set, being Choice Specs, with Ice Beam, Dark Pulse, Hydro Pump, Water Shuriken, and maybe some other things thrown around in there. But like as you can see on the layout, you can run Waterium-Z, which is also an option. Z Hydro Pump is pretty cool, and it also has the options to set spikes. But Ash Greninja, like I said, it's difficult to use this Pokemon as you need to get Battle Bond off for it to be good. But this Pokemon is one of the best revenge killers in the game, and if it gets a Battle Bond off, this thing is destructive. I mean, just look at its stats. 145 attack, 153 special attack, 132 speed. You can even run this thing physical if you need be. You can run like Waterfall, Night Slash, and maybe Gunk Shot. And U-Turn, it also gets that as well. and it's insanely fast with 132, one of the fastest Pokemon you can pick up in League format. But oftentimes, Ash Greninja, like I said, is very hard to use, as you need to get that Battle Bond off first. But if this Pokemon just came as Ash Greninja right away, I don't think it would be allowed in most leagues. Some leagues even ban this thing as is, because in the right hands, if the person can use this thing correctly, this thing can be absolutely destructive and destroy people's lives. But at the same time, this Pokemon can do absolutely nothing and just sit on the field. At the number 8 spot, we have Kartana. Now, Kartana is an interesting case here. It's very good, but it could also do nothing. Let's take a look at its stats. It's 59 HP, monstrous 181 attack, with 131 defense, which is very good as well. Special attack 59, special defense 31, and his speed is pretty good as well with 109. So the reason why Kartana is so low on the list is because it's easy to take down, because if the opponent sees you have a Kartana on your team, they're just going to go ahead and say, okay, I can just run HP Fire on something and that thing is dead. It's not going to be a problem for me anymore. Which is one problem to Kartana is its special defense is really bad. It will get OHKO'd by pretty much every fire type move on the special side. And its defense is really good as well with 131. But this Pokemon is also extremely good on rain teams. I've seen this thing perform very well in rain. It also, oftentimes people run Scarf so they can outspeed most fire types and do some big damage to them with Sacred Sword, or they can just run a Z move with Z Leaf Blade or Z Sacred Sword and just nuke. Also has the opportunity to defog, and like I said earlier, very good defense stat with 131, so it can take some physical attacks on the physical side, and its speed is pretty good as well with base 109. You'll outspeed a good amount of things, but like I said, Kartana is just so frail on the special side, which is why it's so down on the list. If it had a lot more special defense, it would for sure be higher up on here, but it's that special defense really does hurt it sometimes. Now the number 7 spot, we have Manaphy, the mythical Pokemon. Really nice all-rounded stats, of course, being a mythical Pokemon with 100 across the board. It's always nice to have that. Manaphy is one of those better mythical Pokemon. It's one of those ones that have the oomph over the other ones. So Manaphy sticks out of most mythical Pokemon. It's not the only mythical on this list though. But Manaphy can do a lot of things. It can set up. It has decent bulk, of course, with the base 100 stats to live a couple things, which is why it's such a good setup sweeper. And also, for the ability to this thing have Z Rain Dance, you can get the speed boost from the Rain Dance and set up a Tail Glow, plus the rain will be boosting your Water Stab. It's honestly insane how hard that thing can hit. Manaphy is one of those Pokemon where if you let it set up, it's most likely in all scenarios going to OHKO you. Or not OHKO you, sweep your team. It's got Energy Ball for the other grass types that you think can wall it. It's got Psychic for those Tentacles, the Toxapex, those Quillfishes that want to run up. This thing just has a lot of things going for it. Really good Pokemon to grab in League format. One of the best water types in my opinion to grab. It also gets U-turn if you want to go ahead and run that. This you can do so many things. You can also do some nuking with maybe Z Energy Ball. You could run Z Surf. Nice stab on that thing. But this thing is just very destructive on rain teams, especially with the hydration ability. This thing can't be status if the rain is up. Most people who grab rain grab this thing as well, just because Z Rain Dance is such a good set on this thing. You can do so many things with Manaphy. It's such a strong Pokemon. A lot of things going for this thing. This thing will most likely get drafted in every league you're in. But yeah, Manaphy, really strong Pokemon. Really recommend to pick it up. Just, there's not much to say about Manaphy. Just so good. At the 6th spot, we have Victini, the other mythical Pokemon on this list. Probably one of the best mythical Pokemon offensively, because this thing just hits so hard. Choice Banded V-Create, it just hits incredibly hard. A base 180 attack with the Choice Band stab plus over 100 attack is honestly insane on this thing. V-Create, Choice Band, it just hits incredibly hard on this thing, and you don't even need to run it choice banded as well. You can run it scarf. You get Bullet Strike for the bulky water types. I think you're going to switch in on you. Nope, you just gonna hit them with a hardy Bolt Strike. I've also seen a couple people use Z Celebrate, which is an Omni boost, but most Omni boosts are banned in League format. But if it's not, you can go ahead and use Z Celebrate, make Victini your Z captain. But honestly, a ZV create is going to just hit so many things hard. One of the nice things about Victini as well, unlike Manaphy, is it has the potential to run special and physical, with special moves like Blue Flare, Psychic for stab, of course. It gets Dazzling Gleam, Energy Ball as well for the water types. This thing just has so many good things going for it. This thing should get drafted in your league every single time. This thing is just so powerful. It's insane how powerful this thing is. It's like Manaphy. It has 100 base stats across the board, well-rounded. Yeah, there's really not much to say on Victini. This thing is just so powerful. One of the hardest Pokemon to switch into in League format, because there's just not many things that switch in on a banded V crate from this thing. It just, I can't say it enough, it just hits so hard. It's just plain and simple. Victini is such a monster. It's been used very well many times. It doesn't take much skill to use Victini well. You just slap a choice band on it, V create, U-turn, Bolt Strike, you're good. You can have your last move be whatever you want. Just Victini, such a monster. This is just really not much to say on this thing. It's just such a monster. Sick design as well, if you want to go ahead and keep that in mind. Now, approaching the top 5, we're going to start it off with Blacephalon. So, Blacephalon, one of the new Ultra Beast and Ultra Sun and Move, and probably the best one. Well, except Naganadel, of course, but that's banned to Ubers anyway. So, Fire and Ghost, let's take a look at its stats. It's got pretty decent stats across the board with 53, its defenses are pretty meh. 53 HP, 127 attack, 151 special attack, 179 special defense, and 107 speed. This thing just honestly hits incredibly hard. 151 special attack on this thing is nuts. It's also a really good revenge kill with the Choice Scarf, because if your opponent does not have Shadow Ball switch in, you can just spam Shadow Balls and get your boost and just sweep. But when you're playing Draft League format, the opponent will see a Blacephalon, and they're most likely going to bring either a Dark type or normal type to take Shadow Ball hits, because this thing just hits so hard. Not to mention its signature move, Mind Blown, is super hard on this thing. Base 150 attack. You could run this Z, Waterium-Z, Z Mind Blown. It's extremely hard. And we were talking about a Scarf set earlier. Now, this thing is also a very good Calm Mind set. A personal favorite set on Blacephalon for me is Sub Calm Mind, Shadow Ball, and Fire Blast with the Grassium-Z. It just hits so hard. You think a Heatran's gonna switch into you? Nope, you're just gonna pop a Z Shadow Ball and just nuke that thing. But Blacephalon, it's very frail. On the defensive side, he's 53 HP, 53 defense. Special defense is not that bad, but it's not good either with base 79. If you're clicking Calm Mind, you can get some special defense boosts. But like I said, Blacephalon can be a really good revenge killer. On the right hands, this Pokemon can be destructive. Sure, it may be newer, and there's not much that we know about this thing in League format and how it can do, but I think it's self-explanatory that this thing can do in the work. I have faced it in a League before, and it swept me with the Z Sunny Day, so that was fun. Now, at the number 4 slot, we have Landorus Therian. So, this Pokemon could easily be at the number 1 spot. But this Pokemon is so versatile, I didn't know where to put it. Whether I put it in the defense version I'm doing after this, or do I put it in the offensive version. So, I decided to put it at number 4 in offense, and I didn't put it at number 1 just because it's so versatile. Don't know what it's going to do. It's just such a good Pokemon. This thing can do so many things well. Just look at all the options this thing can do. Defog, Earthquake, Stone Edge, U-turn, Flamethrower, Stealth Rocks, Knockoff, Choice Scarf, Rock Hammer, and Grassium-Z with Fly. Defensively, offensively, it does its job very well, but we're going to be looking at it offensively. Base 145 attack. It's very good. Base 91 speed. Now I know these moves aren't listed on here, but they're very good options for this thing to have. With Sword Stance and Rock Polish, you can run Double Dance on this thing, and then maybe Earthquake and Z Fly, and just kill everything. Landorus Therian is just such a good Pokemon with the Intimidate ability as well. It can also help this thing defensively as well. It's a really good defogger as well. U-turn also on this thing. Like I said, this thing could be at the #1 spot in offense or defense. This thing is just, it's an amazing Pokemon. It should go first round in all of the leagues you are in, as it's a great Stealth Rocker, it's a great defogger. It just does so many things well. I can't say it enough. Just Landorus Therian is like the perfect Pokemon. And now at the #3 spot, we have Protean Greninja. Now, this thing, like Landorus Therian, is extremely versatile. It's very fast. Looking at its stats, it has base 72 HP, 95 attack, 67 defense, 103 special attack, 71 speed F, and 122 speed. Now, sure, you might look at this thing and say, Levitee, why the heck is this all the way at #3? Because of Protean. Protean means you get stab on everything. So, having that small 103 special attack is not an issue for this thing when you have stab on everything. Not to mention, this thing is extremely fast, 122. It can take advantage of things like spikes. If your opponent, let's say, wants to lead with a Tapu Koko or a Magnezone, and you can just click spikes, and you're immune to the Volt Switch or the Thunderbolt, and then you can U-turn out, become a Bug type, and you get Ice Beam, Grass type, see that turns stab as well, Gunk Shot for fairies. There's just so many things going for this thing. It also has the ability to set up Toxic Spikes if you don't want to go for the Gunk Shot. But this thing, it can do so many things. Well, it's just an overall very good Pokemon. Like I said, very fast. And its special attack stat is not that good with 103, but it gets stabbed on everything, so it's not really an issue for this thing. And it just hits overall pretty hard with the base 103 special attack and stab on everything. And at the #2 spot, we have Kyurem Black. Now, if I had to describe Kyurem Black in one word, it's a monster. Just plain and simple. This thing is a monster with base 125 HP, 170 attack, 100 in defense, 120 special attack, 90 in speed F, and 95 in speed. This thing overall just has extremely good stats across the board. It's one of the best bulky offensive Pokemon. It can take advantage of things like Z Free Shock, and let me tell you something. Z Free Shock, coming from a base 170 attack Pokemon with stab, just decimates everything. Not much switches in on a Z Free Shock from this thing. It just destroys lives, and this is one of the Pokemon that can really let loose with the advantage of running special and physical. For special, you get things like Flash Cannon for fairies, you get Earth Power for steel types, you get Draco, of course, for Dragon Stab, and Ice Beam for Ice Stab. And this thing is very good mixed Wall Breaker as well. Like I said, you can run Z Free Shock with maybe Ice Beam as well for another Ice type move, maybe Outrage, Fusion Bolt, maybe Roost. Not to mention, this thing has the ability to roost up, so if your health is at a pretty low, you can just roost up. This thing being weak to rocks does kind of hold back its potential a bit, but that's easy to fix with a good defogger. But Kyurem Black is just honestly such a monster. This thing will most likely be your kill leader in whatever league you drafted in. If it's not, I think you may be using Kyurem Black wrong, but like I said, this thing is just a monster. And now at the #1 spot, we have Tapu Koko. So Tapu Koko, a very good Pokemon. Very, very good. Really fast. 130 speed, 75 speed F, 95 special attack, 85 defense, and 115 attack and the 70 HP. Now you may look at this thing's stats and say, why is this thing up here as well, Levitee? It's because of Psychic Terrain. It basically boosts its electric type attacks. And this thing could also be run physical and special, like the Kyurem Black. But unfortunately with Tapu Koko, because you don't have anything to take advantage of a physical fairy type move. It does not get play rough. which is sad. But it does get things like Brave Bird for grass types. This is one of the few Pokemon that can take advantage of Volt Turn. It has the option to use both. You'll probably be using U-Turn most of the time on this thing though, just because it's not immune to anything. You're free to click U-Turn on anything. You don't have to worry about ground types with Volt Switch. But if your opponent doesn't have a ground type, this thing is free to spam Volt Switches. It just honestly hits incredibly hard with the choice specs as well. Thunderbolt, Dazzling, Gleam, HP Ice is really all you need on this thing. HP Ice, of course, hits those ground types that could be a real big problem for you. But Tapu Koko is overall just a really good Pokemon. It's one of the best Tapus you can grab in League format if Tapu Lele is banned, because if Lele is banned, that's better than Koko. Lele would be here, but we excluded that because most leagues banned it. But back to Tapu Koko. This thing, it's just so good. The ability to also click Defog on here, just the option, like I said earlier, for this thing to have Volt Turn access is just honestly so good for this thing. If it got Play Rough, I think it would be, I think you would see a lot more physical Tapu Kokos with you could take advantage of Wild Charge and Play Rough, and the U-Turn would be boosted more because you'd have more attack investment. And also Tapu Koko does get Calm Mind if you want to go ahead and mess with that. And like I said before, Brave Bird hits the grass types, but overall Tapu Koko is just a monster Pokemon. You should grab it in the leagues. Very good. And it's going to go probably first round in most leagues you are in. Alright, so that is it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed, make sure you show me how much you enjoyed it by click the like button down below. Also, do not forget to subscribe. Ring the bell as well. If you didn't like my opinion in this video, I don't really care. You can go ahead and leave your own suggestions in the comment section down below. I will read your comments, so if you have any questions as well for me, you can go ahead and ask them. But I'm going to get the heck out of here. I don't know when I'm going to upload the defense part. Probably next week, maybe 2 weeks from now. But yeah, now I'm going to get the heck out of here. So if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to click the link down below. I'll see you guys later.